Hey guys, welcome to all of the latest news with the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 12S as a lot of people are calling it and what it actually may be called. We've got news about the screen and all of the setups of the iPhone 13 range, so stick around if you want to see that. 2021 is going to be a mega year though for Apple products for sure. Not just the iPhones, but we've got some really exciting MacBook upgrades as well. Loads of news about the MacBook Pro coming with new Apple Silicon and a return to MagSafe on those as well. But this video really is all about the iPhones. But if you are looking forward to the iPhones or other Apple products, do hit the like button and tell me in the comments which product in particular you are looking forward to the most. Let's get to the release date first though of the iPhone 13. So whereas the iPhone 12 was actually delayed in 2020 because of everything that happened, it looks like the iPhone 13 will return to the normal launch schedule. So that will be September penciled in for that event. So returning to the normal schedule and leaving people a little bit more time to buy these before the holidays if that is what you want to do. But apparently 4 phones in the series again. So an iPhone 12s mini or iPhone 13 mini, and then the iPhone 13, the Pro and the Pro Max. Coming to the name first though, and of course nothing is decided right now. iPhone 13, of course everyone's going to say it's an unlucky number. It's not something that Apple maybe want to do to call it the 13. And anyway, internally, apparently Apple are referring to this as the iPhone 12s because Apple did change the design with the iPhone 12 and they have usually a 3-year window that they use the same design on the outside anyway. And of course, with a new design comes a new number. This isn't a new design. So the 12S does make a lot of sense. And of course, 13 being an unlucky number, it's probably something that Apple won't want to choose. So they'll call this one the 12S. And then in 2022, maybe just skip right over to iPhone 14. Anyway, for right now, you'll hear me calling this the iPhone 13 because it's easy to differentiate 13 from 12. So I'll call it 13 from now on and in my video titles until we know for sure that it's called 12S, and then everyone can agree that it's the 12S and we'll go forward from there. Coming to the screen then, and the biggest upgrade is that 120Hz rumor. Say a rumor, this is almost certain for at least the Pro and Pro Max. 120Hz is something that Apple wanted to put in the 12 Pro and Pro Max, and it didn't happen for 2 main reasons. The first is that the type of technology that Apple wanted to use is called OLED LTPO. This is a new type of technology and Samsung really have a monopoly on it right now. But it is very, very new and the supply just isn't enough to meet the needs of Apple. And so they couldn't really go gung-ho into this technology and put it in their devices because they obviously need a huge amount of screen panels. The second reason why they didn't implement 120Hz is because they would have had to have used an older technology. Say old, it's only a couple of years old, but it's a technology called LTPS. LTPS doesn't have variable refresh rates, and so if you want to use a 120Hz refresh rate, you have to stick it up there the whole time, and that means battery draw is substantial. Apple insist on using paltry, minuscule batteries, and so something had to give, and of course they weren't going to make the phones thicker, so 120Hz was ditched. The time now though is right. Samsung have been obviously bulking out their supply chains and are able to manufacture enough LTPO displays to supply Apple and of course supply all of their own flagship screens as well, like the S series, the Note series, and all of their foldables have these very high-end displays. But Samsung now have enough capacity to give to Apple, and there is no reason whatsoever why Apple wouldn't put these in at least the Pro and Pro Max. That is what all of the rumors are saying, not just rumors, but all of these supply chains are confirming that LTPO is happening and it's going to be readied for the iPhone 13 series. Rumors for right now though are saying that the mini and the normal iPhone 13 won't be getting this. So maybe they'll be sticking to 60Hz and using LTPS displays. And yeah, kind of a bummer, but hey, if you want 120Hz, just go for the Pro because it's the same size as the non-Pro. Have to pay a bit extra, but having 60Hz on the non-Pro and the mini will enable Apple to keep prices on that more competitive. So you've got choice. If you want a cheaper phone, then don't get 120Hz. And if you do want it, you've got the option and you can pay a couple of $100 extra. Next rumor is that Touch ID is returning according to some pretty reliable sources. So there's a couple of reasons for this. Really, the first one is that Apple have worked out the problems because they had a lot of different screen technologies with 3D touch. They had a lot of issues with Touch ID. Basically, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't put Touch ID in the screen like all Android manufacturers do. I think because they were using 3D touch and actually they've got rid of that now so they can put the Touch ID back in. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments though. In any case, since the iPhone 10 and they got rid of the bezels and Touch ID, they've been using Face ID. Now is the time to return to Touch ID. They can do it technologically now. And also, of course, this is going to be a great marketing campaign from Apple, telling us that everyone is using face masks now. Face ID is literally useless, so they're giving us Touch ID in replacement. The reality is that they've only just got the technology in the right place that they can do it, but hey, we've got it. It looks like it's coming. Face ID plus Touch ID. I think that is a pretty good setup. Let's go over then a recap of what we are getting with the iPhone 13 as of what we know right now. So we'll start with the iPhone 13 mini or the 12S mini, and we will be getting much of the same. So in the screen department, we'll be sticking with a 5.4 inch OLED display and sticking at a 60 Hertz refresh rate. As I said, for right now, it looks like 120 Hertz will be kept in the Pro models. Apple probably using the Pro Motion branding for those. And we'll be sticking at 2340 by 1080, which is a full HD display. And actually for a screen size of 5.4 inches, is enough and a decent screen for me. So no real upgrades here, but more of the same. When it comes to the system, of course, it will feature the Apple A15 chipset with 4GB of RAM and have 5G. That's really great because it's pretty much the same as the iPhone 13, its big brother. The A15 will be on a 3nm node, which is a big improvement over the 5nm node that we're currently using in the A14. Moving up to the big brother then, this will once again be the most popular iPhone of the bunch. At least it will sell the most units, the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 12S. We will wait for confirmation on that naming. A 6.1 inch OLED display, so that is the same as we've got now, and 60 Hertz. For what we know right now, this one will not be getting that bump up in screen refresh rate either, and sticking with the same resolution, which is a full HD plus resolution. Of course, you have that 6.1 inch display, so it's a slightly strange resolution, but Apple does that for all of their phones. Coming to the camera then, sticking with a dual camera for what we know right now, 12 megapixel wide and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. Like I said, some lens improvements should be coming on these phones. Moving through to the Pro though, and this is the one that will start to see some really pro upgrades for sure. So yeah, sticking with the same design and 6.1 inch display, but there's the big spec, 120 Hertz according to rumors that we know. Pro Motion display, that will make a huge difference to your daily usage when it comes to the smoothness of the screen. Coming to the cameras, and we could possibly see an extra bit of zoom range on the iPhone 12S Pro or the 13 Pro, whatever you want to call it, to a 2.5 times zoom. That will be coming in from this year's iPhone 12 Pro Max. So they could use that extra zoom in the iPhone 13 Pro. Just like the iPhone 12 Pro, the 13 or 12S Pro will have more RAM than its smaller brothers. So 6GB of RAM here, and of course the Apple A15 chipset. And we should be looking at a price of around $1,000 like we did this year with the 12 Pro. And I think with the upgrades in terms of the chipset, some possible camera upgrades, and the 120 Hertz, I think that would be a decent price for this phone. The 12 Pro Max is going to once more be a much better phone, not just a bigger phone. So of course the 120 Hertz Pro Motion will be in there and that massive display, but it's really the camera where this one is going to excel for sure. So we have heard a load of very heavy rumors that the periscope zoom may be coming to the iPhone for the first time. Other specs will be the same though. So you're paying extra for the better camera hardware, the much bigger screen, better battery life of course, but that 120 Hertz as well. The Pro Max is a real beast, and if it does have that periscope, it will really be a complete phone for me. You've got the screen refresh rate and the periscope, and that is a pro device for me. Of course, 6GB of RAM, 5G for all of the phones, and that price, should be around the same, so just over $1,000 for the iPhone 13 Pro Max or the iPhone 12s Pro Max. Certainly early for iPhone 13 leaks or iPhone 12s leaks, but they are coming in thick and fast because supply chains are already getting all of their stuff in order to supply all of the hardware for these phones. So in the spring, we should get some good hardware information and it will be coming thick and fast. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see all the latest goings on in the Apple world and specifically with the iPhone 13 as well. Do hit the like button if this video was valuable for you and subscribe for way more content like this. And I'll see you in the next one.